Well, you know, here at the studio, it's kind of like Christmas Eve every day.
I know.
We love Christmas. You know, when I first started, well, Heartwood Creek, you know, which is the basic line, it was at the request of one of the folks that I licensed to. One of their vice presidents had come to me and said, you know, I would like it if you would come up with a Santa Claus line that would be completely original, completely different, you know, than anything's been done. We would like to really see that. And I thought, that's a great idea. Probably impossible.
Aww.
But at the very same time, it's when I was, you know, playing around with combining these folk art elements, you know, the rose malling, the Hindeloopen, the fraktur, quilts, the Pennsylvania Dutch kind of look, you know, and that sort of outsider art that's so charming in folk art, and combining it all together and creating a motif that would be a combination of all with a nice color palette. And then I could put it on anything, which I was doing, and but I wasn't doing it for the licensing line.
Oh.
It was just something I was doing, you know, as a personal thing I enjoyed doing.
Right.
Well, I started doing that, and as soon as I did that on the first Santa line, it just took off.
And that's how it all started.
And we haven't looked back yet.
Wow. Well, this is a beautiful new line, and that's another thing tonight I should share with everyone. Almost everything we're showing tonight is brand new this year.
This is the new line. We've just got finished with our product development, and we went through the process that we normally do. And I think you all who've been with us for quite a while are kind of familiar with what we have to go through to actually get these things from the concept to the shelf. And so this is brand spanking new, and it's a little bit of a departure from what I normally do in that I've used some of the elements are actually more faithful to real classical rose malling or real classical fraktur, and I'll point this out. And we've also used a little bit of jazzed them up with a little bit of sparkly, and we've used some clear resin pieces where we thought it was appropriate, and so it gives it a little bit of different, different look. I think it's a little bit more of a classy look. It gives it kind of a, you might say maybe a Victorian or slightly retro look that I think you'll find very appealing and very charming. It kind of reminds me of when I was a kid. You know, my grandparents had a collection of antique Victorian greeting cards, and a lot of them used the glitter and the different things. So some of this kind of stuff kind of harkens back to that sort of look.
That was your inspiration, probably. But yes, they're beautiful, and the blue theme, very much, and with a lot of sparkle, a lot of glitter. That
blue kind of gives it that sort of frosty look. But you know, you can. I think this is a good example of a very unusual application of composition. And you know, of course, as an artist, you know, I love doing this stuff, but I love doing things that are artistically pleasing to the eye, and this is a good example of it. As you can see, the front of it is just a massive concoction of different winter, snowy, frosty, you know, images. Some of it is very much like snowflakes, and some of it's almost like frost that you would see on the window. And it's embellished with some very beautiful metallics, and then a little bit of, you know, the glistening glitter, along with the staff who has the snowflake. This is a nice piece. It's a good project. I really enjoyed doing it, but it was a little bit different application, as you can see, Valerie. You know, the kind of detailing that goes in it, and you all can take a look too.
You can see that.
So I'm very pleased with that piece.
Yeah. This one's beautiful. I love the Santa and the sleigh.
Yeah, the sleigh. Let me get that out. And it's sort of a classic, you know, the classic sleigh shape. And you know, I put a lot into making sure that the lines of that really, you know, make sense and have a flowing effect, and where the balance in the composition is just right. And then the decoration that's on it, you know, is, I think, if I may say so, pretty well done.
Oh, it's
beautiful. I think it's a very tasteful piece. You know, a lot of the pieces that I do, particularly around Christmas, have a little bit of whimsy to them, and this does too. But it doesn't lose that sort of kind of elegance. You know, it's and of course the runners here are, formed metal, so that as a mixed media piece, this is it's durable in that it allows us to get that nice slim proportion and all those beautiful details, and be also virtually indestructible.
Right, and then there's also, you go back to the quilting patterns right here on the bag, which is really clever.
Yes, and I think the coloration is nice too. You have all these blues and greens and so forth happening, and then up here in his cloak you have the sort of signature purple that I love so much, with a red backdrop. I think it's very nice.
The reindeer's beautiful.
The reindeer, it almost goes with it, to tell you the truth, in a way.
Oh, that's right. I didn't notice that.
Yeah, so, and it has the same sort of flavor to the detailing of the design work on it. You can see how the antlers kind of mimic it too. It's got that sort of, that curl that I use so much in so much of the artwork. It stands out in that. So, so I'm pretty, and of course it's got that kind of out of proportion in the right way stylization that I like to do.
Also signature Jim Shore.
Yeah, it works. When it's done correctly, it works. Now
And
this piece
one.
here, as I was talking about things being fairly faithful to the actual artwork, sometimes particularly on the scale of these pieces, I call it rose mauling, and there's a lot of different iterations of rose mauling. Rose mauling is actually, Norway is credited with the originating of it, with all of their, their different valleys and so forth, having slightly different versions of it.
Right.
But that's basically where it comes from. And so what I use are elements out of it. It's never really genuinely classical, rose mauling. However, there's a German version called Fraktur. And you see it very much, and I've used it a lot in my Williamsburg pieces because it was a very popular motif in colonial Williamsburg. And this piece here is something that is pretty darn accurate as far as the design. Of course, it's got the little bling of the, but you can look those elements, and that's very, very authentic Fraktur.
Okay.
Well, a lot of the folks out there that know Fraktur, they call Fraktur is German for fracture, and they call it that because it used to be an adornment for illumination.
Okay.
And but it was distinctive because the letters themselves were in segments, so they call it fracture. And that's where it came from. Pretty soon the lettering went away, and the design work took over.
Gotcha. Well, these are very whimsical.
Yeah.
These are really, really pretty.
Yeah, those are cute, and I'll tell you what, they're very effective because of the glitter we've used. Now, we didn't use heavy glitter. We used that nice, fine powder glitter.
Right.
And it really is effective. It gives just a little bit of that slightly iridescent look.
Without being too much or
without
overdone.
being too much.
Right.
And then, now the design on that one is very similar, to the design work that I did on the Big Santa.
Right.
Because frankly I liked it so much. I thought it was so effective.
Well, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Very intricate.
Yeah, it's very intricate. If you look at it in detail, each one of those elements is highly detailed, but all together, the way it does, it makes a very interesting textural look.
I'll quickly do the last two in this line.
Okay.
And this is called Winter Wonderland, by the way.
And that's a little bit more, the way I typically do. And you can, it's not the finished look is not what I'm going for. I'm looking for this handmade, faceted look here, so you can actually see the knife cuts in it. And of course, I do a combination of patterning, rose mauling elements, offset with the quilting things, and some curls down there to simulate the snow. So it's pretty
beautiful.
effective. Anybody who likes owls will like that piece too.
Oh, I know, definitely. And last but not least, she's a real pretty one.
Well, once again, it's the blue theme. That's nice frosty blue, and some of the elements on that are made to simulate those frosty patterns that you see on your window on a cold winter's day.
Well, it's a beautiful line.
And with her sort of crystalline wings, I think it really makes a beautiful piece. Anybody who loves angels or loves to collect angels will love that piece, and it's a wonderful accent, as a piece for Christmas.